Hi, everybody. I'm Lior Gavish. I'm CTO and co-founder at Monte Carlo. And today I'll talk about reliable data and AI and how they relate to each other. So let's get started. You've probably been hearing about generative AI quite a bit in the last year. There's definitely a lot of hype. And while that happens, the data teams that are supposed to provide data for all of this generative AI to happen are still struggling with some of the fundamentals of building data systems. And I'll explain what I mean today in just a bit. So I think generative AI is very, very exciting and basically is going to help us unlock a lot of unstructured data. Historically, as data teams, probably looking mostly at structured data, relational data that's coming from various sources. And that's mostly because that data is relatively easy for us today with the stack that we have. It's very easy to ingest it, to transform it, to analyze it, and to derive insights from it. To the extent that we could analyze unstructured data like text or video or images, that required major investments from highly proficient data scientists that can write complicated algorithms to analyze it. Generative AI opens up the opportunity of using unstructured data more easily and without having all that complicated infrastructure in place and a lot of very rare talent. And that's very exciting because most companies have a lot of unstructured data. Think about the code that its developers are writing. Think about all the interaction, the digital interaction with customers. And depending on the industry, there might be a lot of other information that's unstructured that could unlock insights and also, optimize user experiences and internal decision-making. And the kind of main insight about that is that in order to unlock the value from unstructured data, which I think we're all excited about, we're going to need to incorporate that information into generative models. And what I mean by that is that when you use a foundation model, something like OpenAI's ChatGPT or Claude, you're using a model that's been trained on mostly public information, right? Think about it as the internet. So that model is extremely knowledgeable about the world and can answer a lot of different questions about a lot of different topics, but it lacks context about your specific company and your specific use cases. It can do extremely well in tasks like coding or kind of general purpose content generation or summarization. But if you want to solve problems that are specific to your business, it will fall short. For example, if you want to build a bot that helps your customers change the flights that they booked with you, if you're an airline, for example, you're going to have the model know a lot of information about that customer, right? You need to know who that customer is, what flights they've booked, what the cancellation policy is, and a lot of other context that the pre-trained models don't have. Or similarly, if you're providing financial services to a customer and you want to build a natural language interaction, the bot will have to know things about your customers, including their credit score and their balances and past transactions and things like that. And so what I want to say is that in a lot of enterprise use cases, we're going to need to take proprietary data that we have inside a company and make it available to a generative model. Now, how to do something like that? The methods that exist today there's actually two ways to do it. One is what's been called the RAG, or Retrieval Augmented Generation, which means that when a model tries to answer a query from a user, it will basically have access to a database that includes proprietary information that you can curate and prepare in advance, that gives the model context about your own company and your own business. That database is oftentimes a vector database, which is an extremely effective way to query textual corpuses, but it doesn't have to be. It can also be kind of a more traditional database or data warehouse. And that's a very powerful method to make the bot informed about information that it wasn't trained with. The other method of doing that is what's called fine-tuning, where instead of using foundation model as is, we basically train that model with a data set that we prepare. So for example, we might take documents from our own corpuses and from our own data, and essentially teach the model to understand that knowledge or to have those examples. Both methodologies are very useful in different scenarios, and both have been used quite extensively in the last year in various experiments and also production applications. And both are exciting in different ways. We don't have time today to talk about whether you should use RAG or fine-tuning, but the TLDR is RAG is oftentimes the way to get started and the simplest way to get very good outcomes. And so definitely would start there. The one thing to remember is that whether you're doing RAG or whether you're doing fine-tuning, you're essentially going to build a data pipeline, right? Because you are taking data from your company, from various sources, and you're transforming it and preparing it to be used inside a database or as a data set for training. And that data pipeline is kind of what we data engineers know how to do, right? And that's very exciting, because I think that means that data teams and data engineers are going to be a big part of making generative AI effective in the enterprise. The one thing to remember, though, is that ensuring the reliability and the trust around those data pipelines is still critical and cannot be neglected. And what I mean by that is that if the training set that you're using for fine-tuning, or if the data inside a database using RAG is wrong or faulty in any way, you're just going to get bad results from the model, no matter how smart or intelligent or capable it is. And that's just a fundamental fact, right? You can't, if you want to deliver a good user experience, if you want to deliver a model that is trusted and that is reliable and that's doing amazing things for your customers or your internal stakeholders, you need to make sure your pipelines are reliable. And obviously at Monte Carlo, we think a lot about this issue, and we build a lot of capabilities that help data engineering teams deliver reliable, trusted pipelines that work consistently and effectively and deliver high quality data. And so I'd definitely be excited to speak with you if you're interested in making your RAG or fine-tuning pipelines effective. Thank you for spending your time with me today. And please feel free to reach out on LinkedIn or via email. Thank you all.